Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev Srila Gurudev Jai Gurudev Srila Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Srila Gurudev Srila Paramahamsa Parivajatacharya Ashtot Sar Srimad Srila Abhay Chanavrind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anant Kori Vaishnavrind Ki Jai Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Krishna Krishna Swami Namo Acharya Padaya Krishna Krishna Buddha Shmanda Bhaktivedanta Namaste Saraswati Devi Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, chapter 4, the process of creation. Text 24. Finally, now when I say all glories to assembled devotees, there are some assembled devotees. For the last few weeks, I always found it funny when I was saying that. Text, we'll all do Mangal Charan together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Nadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevayat Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. The Mukam Karoti so nicely represents Mayapur. Right? Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Radha Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Panchatattva. So nicely, right? So beautiful. So text 24. Namastasmai Bhagavate Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Vasudevaya Vedase Papurgyanam Mayam Saumya Papurgyanam Saumya Yanmukham Buruhashavam Yanmukham Buruhashavam Namastasmai Bhagavate Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Vasudevaya Vedase Papurgyanam Ayam Saumya Papurgyanam Ayam Saumya Yanmukham Buruhashavam Yanmukham Buruhashavam Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papurgyanam Mayam Saumya Yanmukham Buruhashavam Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papurjanamayam Somya Yanmukham Buruhashavam Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papurjanamayam Somya Yanmukham Buruhashavam. Word for word. Namaha. My obeisances. Tasmai. Unto him. Bhagavate. Unto the personality of Godhead. Vasudevaya. Unto Vasudev. Or his incarnations. Vedase. The compiler of the Vedic literatures. Papuhu, drunk. Jnanam, knowledge. I am this Vedic knowledge. Saumya, the devotees, especially the consorts of Lord Krishna. The consorts of Lord Yat, from whose Mukha Amburuha, the lotus-like mouth. Ashavam, nectar from his mouth. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudev, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Purport. In pursuance of the In pursuance of the specific utterance, Vedase, or the compiler of the system of transcendental knowledge, Srila Sridhara Swami has commented that the respectful obeisances are offered to Srila Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Srila Jiva Goswami has agreed to this, but Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur has made a further advance, namely that the nectar from the mouth of Lord Krishna is transferred to his different consorts, and thus they learn the finer arts of music, dance, dressing, decoration, and all such things which are relished by the Lord. Such music, dance, and decorations enjoyed by the Lord are certainly not anything mundane, because the Lord is addressed in the very beginning as para, or transcendental. This transcendental knowledge is unknown to the forgotten conditioned souls. Srila Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of the Lord, thus compiled the Vedic literatures to revive the lost memory of the conditioned souls about their eternal relationship with the Lord. One should therefore try to understand the Vedic scriptures or the nectar transferred by the Lord to his consorts in the conjugal humor from the lotus-like mouth of Vyasadeva or Sukadeva. By gradual development or transcendental knowledge, one can rise to the stage of the transcendental arts of music and dance displayed by the Lord in his Rasa Leela. But without Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. But without having the Vedic knowledge, one can hardly understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's rasa dance and music. The pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the rasa dance, as there is no mundane distinction between the two. God, let's read it again. The pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the rasa dance, as there is no mundane distinction between the two. Yeah. Studying Bhagavatam, you are in Rasa Leela. What's a part of, isn't it? Love it. So this is a very nice shloka. We are here where Sukadev Goswami is offering Mangal Charan. I think yesterday Prabhu was giving class and he was talking about how this is Mangal Charan. So here we see Mangal Charan being given to Vyasadeva. So I thought today we'll discuss a bit about Vyasadeva, and it's interesting how we can pick some certain connections which are intriguing. So the first part is Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase. So here Sukadeva Goswami is offering obeisances to Vyasadeva. Who's writing this? Vyasadeva. So it's interesting, isn't it? Sometimes you're writing and you might be thinking, you're writing your own glories? It's interesting. You might see this in Twitter, especially for people who are famous. They always tend to refer to themselves from third person. You may have noticed this, right? Sometimes you may see in Facebook or in Twitter, like just yesterday I was seeing one person, he's a teacher. So he teaches people how to pass the medical exams in Australia. Like he's a teacher and he can get you to pass the medical exams. So he was saying, finally it's in. And then he's putting all the, excerpts out of what the students are telling about him. And then he's telling his own name. Saurav is a very good teacher. Saurav is excellent. So, you can see that concept of pushing yourself away from a third person and glorifying yourself. It happens, right? And then we can see that concept is coming originally from Krishna himself. Who is glorifying Krishna? Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. It's interesting, isn't it? Who's glorifying Krishna? Lord Chaitanya. So that glorifying yourself from a third person, that's a very interesting concept, right? And you can see that propagate through Vedic literature and in our mundane lives, right? If I want to glorify, I did this. So you see, you put yourself in a separate pedestal, right? So this happens, this taking yourself out of a situation and speaking it the way it is. But here Vyasadeva, he is not in that particular mood, that mood of self-aggrandizement or, self-advertisement. Here he is transcribing what has happened. And so it is very interesting. I think it was P.V. Narasimha Swami, he gave a very nice class, and it was a very beautiful class, and then this is way back, very early on, but he gave a very nice concept. He was explaining that how Vyasadeva, he first compiled Bhagavatam, right? And this compilation of Bhagavatam is actually a seed. And this seed was introduced to him through Narad Muni and Lord Brahma himself. So Brahma, Naradiya, Vyasa. So this seed is with him. And then he is nicely explaining that how this seed fructifies in Sukadeva Goswami. So the seed is with him, but the fruit of the seed is with Sukadeva Goswami. Now Sukadeva Goswami is explaining to Parikshit and Vyasadeva is listening to the fruit. You're understanding how nicely it's working? And he's listening, he's saying, man, this is fantastic. I want to write this thing down. And then he's writing this thing down. So it's very intriguing, isn't it? This construct. That how he compiles Bhagavatam, because if we remember in the early days of Sukadeva Goswami, he just ran off to the forest, right? And to entice him back, Vyasadeva had his disciples sing Bhagavatam. And by singing Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami came out of the forest. So we are also lost in this forest of material world. And by the singing and glories of Bhagavatam, we can also come out of the forest. So that's an intriguing example we can take from the life of Vyasadeva, right? And then here we can see that Sukadeva Goswami is praising Vyasadeva. Now this is important in a few ways, right? First is the purpose we do Mangal Charan is because we also want to glorify. So we want to offer obeisances, Ashir, Namaskriya, Vastu Nirdheshu. So if these are the three concepts in a Mangal Charan. Ashir means to offer benedictions. Namaskriya, to offer obeisances. So one is offering benediction, that whoever is reading this, this will happen. So you will notice this in Bhagavatam, that, every time a chapter finishes, it is said that one who listens to this, all his sins will be destroyed. So you hear that concept. So Ashir, benedictions. Namaskriya, obeisances are offered. And Vastu Nirdheshu, a subject matter is described. Right? So in this specific Mangal Charan, Namashkriya is being done. Obeisances are being offered. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Obeisances are being offered. So this Namastasmai Bhagavate is Sukadev Goswami's acknowledgement that I got the seed. Now, of course, Sukadev Goswami is the ultimate fructification of the seed, right? But even despite that, the part played by Vyasadeva is acknowledged. Now, for us, when we are studying, we are many lines away from Vyasadeva. So for us, we always, magnetize towards Srila Prabhupada, because that's the nearest. That's what we can comprehend. But here, so you can appreciate Sukadev Goswami. He is, he is getting attracted towards Vyasadeva because there is that relationship, right? So here's something interesting for us. So we can also, link up nicely with Vyasadeva. What are the three main books we read? Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guess who compiled all three? Interesting, isn't it? That the linkage. When we see the linkage, we're like, man, that's real dependence. Like, real dependence on Vyasadeva. Right? And the reason why I'm focusing on this is, it is important to, when we are reading Shastra, to sometimes, you may have heard that wonderful shloka, right? And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I think there is a reference there in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Shiva saying, Veda Vyas may or may not know. There's that line. So how do we put that in context? Because it's important for us to put it in context. Because if you were to just read that line of its own right, someone could use that to say that debase your entire philosophy. Like they can, if I am a philosopher, a scholar, I can use that one line to debase the entire philosophy that we are discussing. He's saying, well, it's said here, Veda Vyas may or may not know. So, what are you reading all this for? Right? So, it may be used in a different manner. So, we have to contextualize what that means. Right? Veda Vyas is writing that. That we have to contextualize what that means. Right? So, we have to first appreciate that Veda Vyas has written all these books. He is the literary incarnation. Literary means he is going to write all these philosophical points. So therefore, between Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, between these three volumes of books, there is no philosophy left in the world that is not covered. No philosophy. From the most craziest philosophies, right? Conspiracy theories, all the way down to the most factual-based scientific approach. I'm talking about in that range. I'm talking about mundane philosophy right now, not spiritual philosophy. In mundane philosophy, in that range, all of that can be found in these three books. Because Vyasadeva is the compiler, he's the literary incarnation. What that implies is that whatever is there that you can gauge in literature or in knowledge, he has presented it. Can you appreciate that? Any mundane knowledge that you can think of has been presented by the literary incarnation, who is Vyasadeva. That is why whenever we hear, like here the word is used Vedase. The Sanskrit word that is used is Vedase, the compiler of Vedic literature. Right? Veda, the knowledge, he is the compiler of that knowledge. So if we think we have come up with knowledge, mundane knowledge, that is outside the remit of what Vyasadeva has explained, we are fooling ourselves. Anything and everything that has been explained in a mundane philosophical point has been already established by Vyasadeva. And of course, has been superseded by Vyasadeva to say none of this really matters, one should take to Krishna consciousness. So then that supersedes, I'm not, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. So I'm not talking about the fact that he is establishing the mundane philosophy. He is talking about it by saying that it's of no value. Right? So sometimes when we are reading all of this, we may be thinking, man, this is quite, nice. It is talking about the material world, but is there value in it? Right? Yes, there is value in it because you can use this to discuss with great, philosophers. It's very interesting that I was reading an article yesterday. This is in the Forbes magazine about how the universe is not purely mathematical. Like scientists tried to explain the world in a mathematical framework. They're saying, but it's not possible because the mathematical formulas don't immediately correlate to the observable world. The world we observe and the world we calculate, because if you calculate the orbit of the moon, forget the moon, the earth around the sun, on pure mathematics it's a circle or ellipse, but the actual orbit is much more elongated than that. So he's saying the observable world versus the mathematical world, if you just did pure maths, you wouldn't be able to coincide. So you have to observe and you have to do the formulas, and then the world makes sense. Right? So this is the current mundane philosophy of how we are describing the universe. But Vyasadeva is taking another approach. He's saying, no, you observe the world from your state. So whenever we are going to be discussing about the creation, we're going to be observing the world from our state. Right? For example, we see whenever we see Lord Vishnu lying down, right? Traditionally, we'll see his head is on the left and his feet are on the right. In traditional temples, you will see that. And the reason why they do that is the left side of the Lord is explained to be part of the spiritual world. That is why you'll see Radharani on the left. You see all of this. Why do we bow down towards the left? You see, all of this correlates. Vyasadeva has explained all this, right? All of this correlates. The reason we do everything from the left side is when Lord Vishnu is lying down on the left, right? You'll see generally in the Vishnu temples, like he's lying down, left to right. So from the left side is explained that is the spiritual world. And then on the right side is the material world. So this is Lord Vishnu in Yoga Nidra, and it's explained that Yoga Nidra is the ignorance. That's interesting, isn't it? It's the Yoga Nidra that's the ignorance. When he closes his eyes and goes into his own, internal, enjoyment, and then he shuns himself from us. That is why we are saying, Kothai Krishna, where is Krishna? We can't find, because he's in Yoga Nidra. So that's very intriguing, but this is from Brahma Samhita. What I'm describing is all from Brahma Samhita. In the beginning few shlokas, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj has explained this so beautifully. So, but what I'm saying is that all of these philosophical constructs are being explained by Vyasadeva. So we have to appreciate Vyasadeva. Now here is another thing I found interesting. In Bhagavad Gita, the conversations that are happening, right, are happening with related people, with family-related people. Krishna and Arjuna, related by family. Okay, the Surasena line. Right, so Vasudev and Kunti, and then we have Krishna and Arjuna. Right, so familial line. Here also there is a familial line in Sukadev and Parikshit. Who's Sukadev's father? Vyasadeva. Who's Parikshit's father's father? Vyasadeva. It's interesting, isn't it? Isn't it intriguing? Is it like, that familial contact is appreciated. Like these connections help, we say, oh yeah, this is very nice. So when I was in the morning when I was reading the shloka and I was thinking about it, I was like, man, this is so amazing, this linkage, this familial contact. So we have Sukadev Goswami, who's the son of Vyasadeva, and here sitting is Parikshit, cursed to death. Right? Both sitting and observing each other. And they are all, he's also a familial relationship with Sukadev Goswami. And that level of relationship is warranted when we start discussing something so esoteric. The reason why it's important is that this philosophy that we are discussing is Achintya Bheda Bhed. Right? And to discuss this, a familial relationship needs to be built. So that's why when we get initiated, we say our spiritual father. You see that? We're trying to build that relation. We're trying to connect to that. We're saying, oh, this is our family. We are using these terms, but the real reason why these terms are there is that to consume this knowledge, that relationship is required. It's interesting, isn't it? Sometimes when you observe that, you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Right? So even when you see Chaitanya Charitamrita being written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's in the first few chapters, he's explaining the Vaishnavas that have blessed him and that have given him the opportunity to do this. So that familial relationship is being built. Right? So we appreciate that. And so the first thing here is that when we think about Vyasadeva, when we are reading the literature written by Vyasadeva, through the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, right, we get relationship. We build that relationship that yes, we even call this Vyasasana. So, there is that linkage. The linkage is there, it exists, right? Then the next one, the next part of the shloka is, Papur Jnanam Ayam Somya, Yan Mukham Buruhashavam. So here it is explained that the pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge droppings from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Now in one sense, when we look at this, we can appreciate that in discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, in speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, in both these affairs, there is a nectar. Now we may not feel that nectar, right? You don't feel, because it is explained that, in our minds, nectar has a certain taste. It's like honey. In our minds, nectar has a certain taste. But here, when we are saying nectarian, there is a different taste that we are discussing. Here, first taste. When we are saying nectarian, we mean it will cause eternality. Right? This is our description of Mukham Buru Hashavam. That it is going to cause eternality. This nectar will make me eternal. The second thing is that this nectar will remove any duality left in us. Now, removing hurts. Any process of removal hurts. Someone removes your teeth, it hurts. Right? It hurts. Someone removes your hair, it hurts. So, the process of removal hurts. So, in consuming Srimad Bhagavatam, there will be hurt. And this hurt must be taken with the charm you don't have to take it in a chivalrous fashion, because sometimes you have seen that picture. I don't know if you guys ever imagined that picture. There is Draupadi on one side, she's raised her hands, right? And there is Bhishma Dev on the other side, he's raised his hands. Just compare the two constructs, right? So it doesn't have to be chivalrous. So I'm just saying that because, little boys are sitting here, so chivalrous. So, but it doesn't have to be chivalrous. The point here is that there is surrender. That's the point. That, in both constructs, you will see Krishna coming to the rescue. In both constructs, there is Krishna who's coming to the rescue, who is in a mellow, he is interacting. Same, because the reason why I picked this up is my son was looking Mahabharata and he was saying, Dad, why is Draupadi raising her hands? I was saying that, she surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna is then providing her the cloth. He's like, okay. He picks the next picture, then he's like, why is Bhishma Dev picked his hands? I was like, hey. I was like, yes. It's interesting, right? So sometimes you're observing, children have a very nice way of observing worlds that we may not. Right? They have a way to observe the world. So I was like, yes. I said, he has also surrendered to Krishna. So moods, somebody may have different ranges of mood. So that is why we have, the 5 main rasas, and then chivalry, humor, they're all there. But the idea here is that with this nectar, with this Mukham Buru Hashavam, there is going to be some amount of removal that is required. So when you raise your hand, it means, okay, I'm ready for it to be removed. So both. Bhishma Dev wants to quit his life, right? He has had enough. Like he's like, this is too much. It was the 11th day, or when it was the 10th day? It was the 10th day, one day before. Like the 10th day when he said, all right, Krishna, you can kill me. And then, of course, the next day, I think Arjuna kills him, right? And so, here's something interesting that, Vyasadeva, finally quits on his own terms, lying down on a bed of arrows, right? I apologize, not Vyasadeva, Bhishma Dev. Sorry. Bhishma Dev is quitting his life, lying down on a bed of arrows. Right? This is his mindset. So that picture was there, I was explaining to my kid. I was saying, but he has decided when he will die. So in one sense, as we are reading, Bhagavatam and these arrows are getting pierced, I have to let this go, I have to let that go, I have to let that go. But the advantage of that is eventually we will be able to live life when I say in our own terms, it means in our original terms as devotees of Krishna. That's what I'm talking when I say in our own terms. So that appreciation is there. In some way, shape or form, it adds up. Right? So this Mukham Bhuru Hashavam has value. This nectar has value. And Srila Prabhupada so nicely writes in this purport that this nectar is as good as one dancing with Krishna in Rasa Leela. Whoa. Like, in one sense, the way we have to see this is Srila Prabhupada allowing us to enter this Leela. See, remember what we talked about, the familiar relationship. We cannot enter Vrindavan without permission. Here is the permission. Right? So the permission exists in the purports of Srila Prabhupada. He is giving the permission. Yes, there is this, it is allowed. Of course, but there is a key word that Srila Prabhupada uses, pure devotee. So like I said, that pureness is, the arrows have to come through. And that is why Bhishma Dev also tells Krishna that, whatever little bit of, gratitude I had towards Duryodhan has been dropped off. Like the blood is finished. From his body, the blood was finished. It was all dripped off. Right? So he is saying that whatever little, little bit of I felt that I have some obligation to Duryodhan, that is now finished. Now he is lying down in the bed, no blood, just lying down. And when he reaches a certain mood, he gives up. Right? So here that is why Srila Prabhupada is writing the fact that you must be a pure devotee. But then he is giving that permission. So the pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the rasa dance, as there is no mundane distinctions between the two. This is Srila Prabhupada saying that enjoyment that you are getting there is the same enjoyment you will get in discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? And that permission by Srila Prabhupada to allow us to realize and to, feel that compassion of Krishna is required. Usually we are interested in the passion, but here we are interested in the compassion. Right? We are mercy, right? So, Kripa Siddha. So, we are interested in the compassion of Krishna. Right? So, that idea is appreciated. So, we will end here. It's 8:35 it's a Mangal Charan, but it's a very beautiful Mangal Charan. Devotees want to share something. They feel like they want to share. It's a nice shloka. The next few are also very nice. Yes.
Clarification and question. I'm not sure if I heard correctly. Did you say the three main books that we read?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that the mood of compilation is of Vyasdev. So we have Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. So there's Vyasadev's influence. There is Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam is of Vyasadev. And then from Lord Chaitanya Leela, you will see references of Chaitanya Mangal also there. And then the permission is taken there as well. So what I'm saying is in all the three, you will see Vyasadev's, we see Vyasadev's permission in all the three books. And that is why we respect. So that respect is required. Yeah. So in these three observable facts, we see Vyasadev. And so we have to appreciate it. Yeah. That's it.
Question is to this was saying that reading and discussing
Yeah.
about philosophical discussion of Krishna and the words kissing of the devotees.
Yeah.
So we understand that on the spiritual platform all services are the same. But how do we understand that that's true and also some of the Macharya Krishna says in the Bhagavad. They say everyone equally,
Yeah.
there are some people who like a certain service, prefer certain service over other service. How do you see that?
Yeah. It is, it's going to come into this process of creation, how Krishna allows us our mood. Let's put it like that, right? So whatever our mood is, in the creation of this universe, we will observe that mood. We will see how ignorance takes place. We will see how ignorance takes place. We will see how Krishna then basically allowing the jiva to take the position of Ishvara. Like you're going to see all these principles come out, right? Now we will see this in the material aspect. We will also see this in the spiritual aspect. The same. So the reason why we start with the material and why Bhagavatam starts with that is because that you can observe. I can observe this, right? So remember we were saying that mathematical formulas have to be attached to the observable facts. So because you can observe this, your mathematical formulas will work because it's observable, right? So now when you switch over, like when you turn and you actually observe this in the spiritual world, whatever mood we have, that mood will hold. And by the way, when you're saying in the form of kissing of the Lord in the rasa dance, we are not saying that we are going to enter a rasa leela. What we are saying is that the mood that Krishna is going to give, we will get by reading Bhagavatam. And to your point that if somebody is not interested in reading, or maybe somebody is interested in some other service, that aspect is there, right? So even to do that service, he has to read. So it is even said in Archanam, there are 5 processes in Archanam, right? Who remembers the 5? I think there is that getting ready to go to the temple, then preparing equipments for the service. I mean, I don't remember all of them. Like one is doing the service, and then what is preparing to go. So that's you waking up, taking shower. There is being in front of the Lord. So that aspect is there of Archanan, and then there is you preparing the paraphernalia for the service, and then the next one is you actually doing the worship, and then the 5th one is reading. So even in Archanam, that aspect is there. So we won't be able to get away from it because that's the basis. So you just have to. I mean, one doesn't have to read to depth and to depth. One doesn't have to read to death or to depth. But one should read. Yeah. Anything else?
Can you please explain again why it's mentioned in CC that Lord Shiva is saying that he knows Bhagavatam, Sukadeva was saying no,
Yeah.
Vasudeva might or might not.
How does the shloka go? Aham Vedi, Sukho Vedi. Something like that, right? Aham Vedi, Sukho Vedi. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So why is it mentioned that Vasudeva might or might not know?
Yeah. So that's what that Maharaj gives a very nice class about this very shloka. He discusses this shloka, and he's trying to give that position that Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation, and because Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation, he holds the seed, right? The fructification of that seed has to come through somebody like Sukadeva Goswami. So he's saying that, like Lord Shiva, he can fructify that seed. Sukadeva Goswami, he has the fructification of that seed. So Vyasadeva, he is compiling that fruit then. So this compilation of Bhagavatam is the compilation of the fruit. Yep. So that is how you take that verse. So one should not take that verse in a different way to say that Vyasadeva doesn't know anything. Like that is not the purpose of that verse. The purpose of that verse is to explain that he holds the seed, they hold the fruit. That way. So that's how Maharaj is explaining. It's a nice class that he gave. This is a very, very old class. Yeah, it's quite an old class, but very nice class. Yeah. Is that enough? Yeah, I mean, because it's already 8:45. That's I'm just watching the time. But the main thing Maharaj was trying to say was that Vyasadeva gets the seed from Narad Muni, and then he first does a compilation of Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami takes that compilation, fructifies that compilation, and then Vyasadeva compiles again. Right? So I shouldn't use the word compiles again, adds to the compilation, and then this is the one we are reading. So we are reading the fruit. So it's not like we have missed on the fruit or anything like that. So that's how we take that verse. Yeah. So we'll end here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari.